Alright guys, video number 3. Today we're going to talk about Bastille. A lot of you probably have heard their song on the radio, Pompeii. It's got real big in America over the fall and in the winter time of this past year. So we're going to talk about them and their rise to fame and how excited I am to see them at Music MidTown. Bastille is an English rock band formed around London in 2010. It started out as a solo project by Dan Smith. He writes and does music for all the songs. He later decided to make it into a band, obviously Bastille. They get their name from Bastille Day, which is an English holiday, and it's also Dan Smith's birthday. So it's all about Dan Smith in this band. They released an EP featuring 2 songs, Flaws and Icarus, in 2011. Dan released it independently. He produced it, paid for it, financed it, and distributed it around London to music execs and promoters and that kind of thing. So they started to gain popularity in and around London in 2011. Around this same time, they released an EP called Other People's Heartbreak, which contained covers of well-known songs such as No Scrubs by TLC, Titanium by David Guetta, and Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, among others. They released their first single, their first major studio label single, Overjoyed, in March or April of 2012. It charted fairly decent on the charts for a debut single. Their debut album, Bad Blood, was released almost a full year later in March 2013. The album itself reached number 1 in the UK. It's reached number 1 over here since its release in America. And it was supported by other singles, Laura Palmer, Things We Lost in the Fire, Bad Blood, and their international hit single, Pompeii, which debuted on top of the UK charts. And it has since charted at number 5 in America. They toured around England and Europe this past year supporting Bad Blood, and in November they released the deluxe edition titled All This Bad Blood, which contains all the songs from the debut album as well as new songs, B-sides, and demos, and then some other covers, including the first single lead off from it, which is Of the Night. It was a mashup between Rhythm of the Night by Corona and Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap. That debuted at number 2 on the UK charts after being performed live on television. And All This Bad Blood has since become a really big deal in England. In February of this past year, Bastille won a Brit Award for British Breakthrough Act. However, they were nominated for 4 awards, which was they were the most nominated act that night at the festival. In April, the UK charts announced that Bad Blood was the biggest selling digital album of 2013, which was a huge accomplishment for a band that had just started out, and it's never been done before with a debut album, so that was a pretty big deal as well. They've been touring the US. Like I said, Pompeii is blown up over here too. It reached number 5 on the charts. All This Bad Blood was released here to good reviews, and it's charted fairly well too. And the second US single, Bad Blood, has charted fairly well on all of the rock charts stateside as well. Presently, they've had major gigs this past year at Glastonbury. They performed at the Hangout Music Festival down in Gulf Shores. Their North American tour, like I said, is over the summer, and they're scheduled to perform at Lollapalooza in August, and obviously they're going to be at Music MidTown in Atlanta in September, which is where I'll see them. And you'll see them too, because you rock, just like them. So that's all for Bastille. Leave your comments in the drop box below.